From the darkest corners of the creepy old house down the street to the screams in the night. Settle in, Parafamily, to join with Whitney and Brandon for another spooky episode of the Para-Unity Podcast.
Hello, Para-Family. Once again, welcome to the Para-Unity Podcast. My name's Brandon.
And I'm Whitney. And
Whitney.
Happy Halloween!
Exactly. So to get into that spirit, we figured tonight we're going to play with some urban legends.
Yes, I love urban legends.
So
Yay.
we invite anybody that's going to join us tonight on our chats, as always, to jump in and join us.
Fantastic.
So if you have an urban legend as we're going through this that you want us to talk about, or you think that you know the story, let us know. And if we're ready and capable, maybe we'll put you on the show with us tonight.
Ooh, that's a new dimension. We're getting
Twist.
crazy tonight.
Plot
Wow.
twist.
Major plot twist. So far, hello to Darren Buss. Welcome to the chat, good sir. Friend of the show, friend to so many other folks on the show. And while we're recording right now and live streaming, it's October 24th. Today is my son Preston's 12th birthday. So happy birthday, honey.
Oh, that is right. I forgot.
Yeah.
Preston's getting so old.
Shush. We're very proud of him. Very proud. He is a good kid. Yes. He's video bombed us a couple of times, but he has. I think he's everybody's favorite on the show. Yay! I'm so glad people love my kid. And we love your kids too, Brandon. Well, I know. They pop on every now and then. Hello, Nicole. Ooh, Darren's talking about the Bloody Bride Bridge in Wisconsin Rapids. Oh, crap. He's trying to do the tongue tying on me already early. Blah. Well, we have, I think, like 9 different urban legends we've picked out that we thought were worthy enough to be on the show. I say we just get into it. They're classics. So for me, I wanted to make sure that I grabbed at least one that was in my area here in Iowa. Cool. We get a lot of the I don't want to call them stupid bridge things, but the bridge things where you park your car on the bridge and it rolls on its own, and we're not getting into those. Like Gravity Hill, like the Gravity Hill thingies. Supposedly. Anyways, yeah, exactly, Darren. The Hell's Gate in every state. Oh my goodness. So actually, there's 2 that I wanted to talk about in Iowa. Okay. The first one I went through and got all the information on because I've seen it. I haven't really looked into it, but a lot of people know about it. And it surprised me that out of all of them in Iowa, this would be the one that we seem like we're known about. So this one, I live in Cedar Rapids. This one's about 20 to 25 minutes south of me. So it's Oakland Cemetery. Oh, okay. So this is on the north side of Iowa City, which obviously is home to the University of Iowa. And it's been the main cemetery in Iowa City since about 1843. So it's got a very famous monument in it. It's about 8.5 feet tall. It's known as the Black Angel. Oh, yeah. I think you've told me I've heard of this one. Yep. So basically the story of the Black Angel dates back to about the 19th century, when Teresa Feldevert traveled to Iowa City from an area that's now known as like the Czech Republic / Slovakia area. So her first marriage produced her son, Edward Dalzell, who died in Iowa City in 1891. So she had a bronze angel statue made in Chicago by a Czech-American sculptor named Mario Korbel, and had it transported to Iowa City to be put in the cemetery in 1915. So now her second husband, who was Nicholas Feldevert's ashes,
were actually placed in a repository at the base of the statue. So when she died in 1924, her ashes were placed beside her husband's. Now, the monument displays Teresa's birth date. There's no sign of her death date. So, and then the other interesting thing is over the years that bronze statue's oxidized, and it's kind of like a greenish black patina on it now.
Lovely.
Yeah, so it has a definite creepy, cool, old vibe look that everybody knows and loves.
I like it, yeah.
Exactly. So, but many students and surrounding residents of Iowa City, they go and visit the statue. So the biggest night of the attraction is obviously Halloween, where students and residents gather around the statue and they test their luck by touching or kissing the statue. Friends, that's a no-no.
Okay.
Not only is it gross, because it's gross, but it's said that if someone touches or kisses the statue, they'll be struck dead within like almost immediately. Not necessarily in the statue, but there's a lot of reports supposedly of people touching the statue or kissing the statue, or some people even say making eye contact with it, like looking it directly in the eyes. And then getting into car crashes on the way home.
Oh, charming. Okay. Great.
Yep. One of the things that's said to save you from this mysterious statue is being a virgin.
I think we're all screwed.
So, I mean, we're not lighting black flamed candles here.
Damn it. I love the black flame candle.
But the funny thing is they also say that if you're pregnant and you do this, you miscarriage.
Oh, no bueno. Okay.
Yeah.
Darren just asked a very, very good question. Why is it still up?
I don't know. I don't have an answer to that.
It's a grave marker, right?
It is. And so they're not apt to remove it, I think, because the ashes are in the base of the statue. So it's essentially a resting place, so it's preserved. However, vandals over the years have damaged it, and they've cut off fingers off of it. From what I've been able to find is the people that were caught doing that have died. Exactly, Darren. But kind of that one of the neat things is in 2013, they had actually an independent film company that came and were attempting to create a paranormal movie based on the Black Angel.
Of course.
And then also there's footage of that angel that's included in the music video for the band Friendship called Alive Twice. So if you YouTube that, you can actually see the statue in it. And I mean, you can go online and see statues of it. It's honestly really cool. The part that always got me was the way the wings are structured. It's not like a normal angel where the wings are just kind of back. This one has kind of like, they're kind of up at an angle almost.
So like kind of, yeah,
they're really kind of different. And I think that has something to do with like the Czech heritage of the way it looks, the way it's depicted. Right, exactly. That would do well with Robert the Doll.
No thanks.
Darren, you're on it tonight, buddy.
Darren, oh my God, no.
So twisting this a little bit, if we go rather than south to Iowa City, if we go about 10 to 15 minutes, that would be west of Cedar Rapids.
Okay.
We get to a little, and I repeat, little town of Palo, Iowa. The biggest thing in Palo is their former nuclear plant. But just actually outside of the city, there is a cemetery out there, which apparently Iowa's got a thing with cemeteries for creepy things. Yeah. There's a cemetery called Pleasant Ridge. Most people don't know it by that name. They call it by the name of the 13-step cemetery.
Oh, yeah.
So basically with this one, if you go there during the day, it's 12 steps to go up into the cemetery. You'll be in the cemetery. It doesn't have the peaceful feel that normal cemeteries do. It has gives you a very on edge feeling when you're there. And you can hear what sound like voices and whispers through the wind. When you go back at night, things change. When you walk up into the cemetery, it's no longer 12 steps, it's 13 steps.
I mean,
I have yet to figure it out. I've been there quite a few times.
How?
My only guess is, since you can't see, because there's obviously no lights out where this is, because it's out in the middle of the country. You feel like you're taking a 13th step, but it may not actually be there. I have not been able to prove that, but yes, I do know that you take 12 steps to get into it during the day. It's taken 13 to get there at the night. I don't know why it happens. When you're there at night, you have a very, very heavy feeling. There's lots of very, very, it's very heavy. You'll have swarms of bugs come out of nowhere in your face. There's red eyes that have appeared for, like, they say are demonic dogs or like hell dogs or other creatures. There's a supposed witch buried in the cemetery by the name of Thankful Blackburn.
I love that name.
And
that is a badass name.
And we've seen her. We've been to her grave.
Oh, wow.
Always wanted to be very, very nice because I don't want to mess with that. The other really odd thing is the wildlife. So many, many, many people have reported going up into the cemetery and coming back out in their cars being covered in raccoons or possums all over the hood, the roof of the cars, all over them. There was a report one time of a deputy, because they've actually started patrolling the area now, the deputies, to keep people out of it at night without approval, because it's very well known. Where the police officer put his patrol unit in park, went up to talk to the people, and while he was standing at the top of the stairs talking to this group about leaving, his car started to roll away.
Oh, this is okay.
Yep. So, got some cool stuff around me.
Sounds like it. Betsy Kulikowski. Hey, Betsy girl. She just basically said that, you mentioned Thankful Blackburn. She has an ancestor named Faithful Walker.
It's very cool.
Really like that. And Darren also says Wisconsin also has its fair share of creepy urban legend cemeteries, apparently. And
There's
he also
really
asked
cool
if
stuff in Wisconsin.
Yeah, he also asked, is this the same as the 100 steps in Indiana?
The 13 steps for fat people, so because we can't do 100 steps.
That's so bad. Naughty, Brandon.
Out of shape.
Oh,
out of shape.
Geez. Oh my god. We're in rare form tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
And there goes our viewers.
Okay. Well, let's see if I can bring some things back here. Darren also said that this is Oshkosh, Wisconsin. I can't wait to hear about that. But how about I give you guys a legend from my neck of the woods in Virginia. And it's classic and it's fun and can be very gory. I will bring you to Bunny Man Bridge. Now, at first thought, yes, I kid you not, we have an urban legend called Bunny Man.
I can only think of Ralphie from A Christmas Story every time I heard you write about it. It's just the little pink bunny outfit. That's
I know. Hey, did you? Fun fact, movie trivia: the guy that directed Christmas Story was the same guy that directed Black Christmas.
Well, at least he keeps with the theme.
Yeah, that's true. Christmas is spooky, but I don't want to talk about Christmas right now.
Okay.
Bunny Man Bridge. So this is up in Northern Virginia in the Fairfax County area. So this isn't too far from Washington, D.C. So this legend has kind of been spreading all around Northern Virginia, D.C., and up into Maryland as well. Oh, and speaking of Ralphie, he's coming out with a remake, with another movie. A sequel.
Yes.
I can't believe it. Okay.
I already watched the trailer.
I'm going to do that later. But anyway, so Bunny Man it's debatable about the actual origins of it, but the first real story that came out with a Bunny Man legend was in the 1970s. And it centers around this cadet from one of the nearby bases, military bases, because Virginia, we're full of military bases. Hoorah. Thank you for all of their service personnel that happens to be listening to this podcast. Thank you for your service. But this cadet and his fiance were out there, close to this place called the Colchester Overpass. So basically it's this overpass in the woods. It's not a highway, it's a train overpass. So it's like got this tunnel-esque sort of concrete, really creepy, really out in the middle of seemingly nowhere is what it looks like. And they're just there kind of doing the thing that cadets and their fiancés do, which I think you can fill in the blanks there, because that is one thing that a lot of these urban legends have. It has this couple or someone like that just out there about to do something that maybe they shouldn't be doing. But that's beside the point.
Saluting.
And the next thing they know, they see this individual coming out of the woods near this bridge. This is a guy dressed in a freaking bunny suit, and he's wielding a hatchet, and he's waving this hatchet around saying, "Get off my property, get off my land." And they're burned rubber out of there, and this guy is like flinging the hatchet at this guy's car. So this apparently has hit the newspapers back in 1970. There have been several reports, and if anyone's interested, I'll go ahead and post some of those in the show notes if you're curious. But from that point on, this Bunny Man legend from these events that happened in the 70s, this was not the only encounter with the Bunny Man. Came out again, chasing some guy off, saying, "Get off my property. If you go any further, you're trespassing, and I'm going to chop your head off." And wearing a bunny suit. Wearing a bunny suit and wielding a hatchet. Now, I know I'm missing a lot of the nuance of this story, but there's also some origin. This Colchester overpass thing has been around since the early 1900s. So like around 1904-ish, I believe is what I've heard. So this is a part where the Norfolk Southern Railroad was. So what this Bunny Man has to do with the railroad, I have no idea. But some of the stories I've also heard is if you go further back in time, there was apparently some kind of lunatic asylum out there. It's not too far from Lorton Reformatory, which is a prison out there. And some guy escapes and he's living wild in the woods and skinning rabbits and stuff. And then eventually he hangs the bunny carcasses up on the trees and over the overpass. And eventually he graduates to people skinning them and getting them hung up. It's a very weird story, but you talk to a lot of people here in Virginia, especially as you go further up north, people know about it. People know about Bunny Man. And while the 1970 reports seem to be legit, some of the other reports that came out like before that time don't seem to be quite so truthful. So it's very, very interesting. It's an interesting it's an evolution almost. You get to see this legend sort of evolve. And now the subject of slasher films. He's actually in the haunted house attraction close to where I live. And he's pretty freaky. He's like jumping out at people with a bunny puppet. It's really disturbing, actually.
Now,
Bunny Man.
Did he make his costume out of like bunnies?
I don't think so. I think it's, as Darren put it, a Ralphie costume. I don't know what color it is. And see, that's an interesting detail that they don't put in, which is why this urban legend is fun, because think of what you can imagine.
I don't understand how he didn't kill many people, because in all honesty, okay, so this dude comes running at you with a hatchet.
Yep.
In a pink bunny costume.
Maybe.
My first thought is not to run away. I would be peeing, laughing, throwing like candy.
Well, apparently also this Bunny Man report from the 1970s, it's also a vandalism report, because he's breaking one of the hatchet that he throws at this poor person's car actually breaks one of the windows. So, wow. Yeah, this guy was, I don't know who this guy was. To this day, nobody knows who the actual Bunny Man really is.
I think technically it's Mel Blanc.
It might be. Or it could be Harvey.
Roger.
It could be
Roger
be Roger Rabbit. Oh my God. Oh man. But yeah, it's a crazy story. And to this day, people still go out there. People, because people love to legend trip and have at it, but do so at your own risk. People legend trip. Yes.
No, you should live report on the scene.
No. Fuck no. I'm not going out there. I will post a picture of this overpass. I would not go out there because it is in the middle of the woods, it looks like, and it is disgusting and it is not very pretty. And I'm sorry, I am not a woods type of girl. Yeah, basically like a Boy Scout lane. Darren, you're on fire tonight, brother.
Oh my God.
So yeah, Bunny Man Bridge.
Dress as Elmer Fudd, you'll be fine. Or you could do like Yosemite with the big mountain.
Oh, yeah. Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting rabbits. Rabbit season. Duck season. Rabbit season.
Oh my God.
I wonder if there was ever a Duck Man. No.
Probably.
Ew.
If there's a Bunny Man.
There was probably a Duck Man.
There's been a Mothman, a Duck Man, or a Bunny Man. There's got to be a Duck Man.
Well,
did they make a movie about that in the 80s?
Oh, Howard the Duck.
Yeah, there you go.
That movie was pretty disturbing for what I've heard. But how about I give you a different kind of man? How about a man that is stalking upstairs? So back in the golden age, whatever that is, there was a young woman, a teenage girl, who has been invited to babysit at a nearby house. Now, she's probably been there a couple times before. It's never really clear, but she has a rapport with this family. The parents go off and they're happy to leave their cute, charming little ones with this young girl. She gets the kids to bed and all is hunky-dory. She's sitting down in the living room, or maybe she's sitting around the kitchen table doing her homework, or she's sitting in the living room watching television, and then the phone rings. Now, this is back in the day when we still had landlines. So you know how loud those landline phones can be. She goes and picks it up quickly because she doesn't want them to wake up the kids. Answers the phone. And on the other end is this deep breathing. And then a low voice saying, "Have you checked the children?" She hangs up the phone pretty quickly. She thinks it's a crank. She's like, "What the heck?" But she tries to blow it off. She's cool. She tries and goes back to work. And then the phone rings again. Picks it up. "You should check the children." She hangs up the phone immediately. She's starting to get a little nervous, but not quite to the point where she's doing anything yet, until the phone rings again. And this time he says, You need to come up here and check the children. This time she starts asking questions like, who are you? What do you want? Why are you bothering me? And then he hangs up. So she calls 911 and gets the police dispatcher to trace the calls the next time this person calls in, which, as it happens, he does. And she tries to talk to him to keep him on the phone long enough. And then he hangs up the phone. This time, when the phone rings again, it is the police dispatcher saying, Miss, get out of the house. The calls are coming from a line upstairs. But as this girl is heading towards the front door, she turns around, and right there at the top of the stairs is this figure of a man silhouetted and looming over her. Classic.
All I can think of is the Scream movie.
Well, yeah, in many ways, there's a lot of resemblance to that.
Oh, yeah.
So the babysitter and the man upstairs is actually one of my favorite urban legends. I've heard it for many, many years around, when I was back at Girl Scouts, and also sometimes on the bus. We tell each other ghost stories when I was in school. But the babysitter and the man upstairs is also pretty resonant with me because I used to babysit a lot when I was a teenager. And I had some pretty creepy encounters when I was babysitting, especially if it was at night and I'm sitting in the living room trying to do my homework and I'm watching TV at the same time just to have another voice going. And I have this big ass glass window right behind me and it's pitch black outside. Oh God, that is so creepy. That is terrifying to a teenage girl at the time. But yeah, the babysitter and the man upstairs, that targets so many different kinds of fears. Being an independent person who's keeping an eye on children. And you definitely do.
That's not yours.
Yeah, house that's not yours, responsibility that, you're 14 or 15 years old. Should you have that kind of responsibility? Watching children? I don't know. But, it's very visceral and it is very realistic sounding. You mentioned the Scream movies. Definitely that device with the phone calling and everything coming from something unknown. That definitely does a part of that. Also, the classic movie with Carol Kane, When a Stranger Calls, from back in I want to say it was the late 70s. Maybe not necessarily a horror movie per se, but the first part of that movie is exactly what I just told you in many ways. So I love that story. I love sharing that with you. I actually took a folklore class when I was in college. And one of the big books I read was Jan Harold Brunvand, The Vanishing Hitchhiker and Other Stories. He also has The Choking Doberman and Other Stories. So all of these urban legends that he had collected and was analyzing at the time. Now, granted, you have to look at it with the fact that those books were probably written like back in the 70s and 80s. So times may have been, things may be updated, but I think that timeless fear of being in that unfamiliar situation with all this responsibility on your shoulders, and what happens when something goes wrong, that's pretty primal.
It is.
Yeah. Hi Tina, and hi Gina. And good question from Darren. He asked, would Bloody Mary, would that be an urban legend?
Well,
as you asked that.
A matter of fact, that is the next one I have on my list.
Yay! I'm going to be rude and eat a chalupa.
What? We're doing the chalupa. Oh, God. See, even Tina knows about Bloody Mary. So, Bloody Mary, basically, it's a legend of a ghost, a phantom, a spirit, some kind of creature or thing that is conjured to reveal the future, or conjured up to get a thrill. Because honestly, nobody's really wanting to get the future out of Bloody Mary. They want to be scared shitless and tell their friends about it.
Yep.
But so she's said to appear in a mirror when her name is chanted repeatedly. So the Bloody Mary apparition can be benign or it can be malevolent. It just kind of depends on the historic variations of the legend, okay? So Bloody Mary appearances are mostly witnessed in group participation play, or actually
parties.
Or actually, the really weird part was that people have mentioned it from people that are about to die.
Interesting.
That's the part that I was kind of like, wait a minute.
What is that? What does that even mean?
So, okay. We're going to have to dive into this a little bit deeper. So, the effects of looking in a mirror when it's dark out, right?
Yeah, you see
or
things.
When it's dark. Yeah, your vision distorts and you see things. There's different things that they call it. I don't remember them right off the top of my head. But there has been people that have said that when they're close to death, they see more of the paranormal around them. In this situation, this gentleman had said that he had seen Bloody Mary appear in the mirror shortly before he died.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
That's pretty intense.
Right, exactly. That was kind of the one where I was like, wait a minute.
I have never heard of somebody dying from that particular legend. Right. Maybe getting freaked out, absolutely, but
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've never heard of anybody dying from it.
Historically, though, it's similar to scrying, just like Darren said. It's a divination ritual that encourages people to do different things. So, like, you can walk up a flight of stairs backwards holding a candle and a hand mirror in a darkened house. What could go wrong with that? As they gaze in the mirror, they're supposed to be able to catch a view of their future husband's face. However, there's a chance that they would see a skull or the face of the Grim Reaper instead, indicating that they're going to die before they got married.
That's actually sort of romantic.
Well, it's not very good odds in their favor if you're walking in a darkened house backwards upstairs holding a mirror and a candle.
So, have you ever heard of the Strange and Unusual podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the lady that runs this podcast, she's adapted a version of that particular ritual in one of her stories. It's really, really incredible. And it didn't have good results for the poor person that was going through it. That's all I'm going to say. If you're interested, check it out.
Yeah.
It's a good story.
So in today's version of the ritual, Bloody Mary's allegedly appears to individuals, if I could talk, or groups who ritualistically invoke her name. This is done by repeatedly chanting her name into a mirror placed in a dimly lit or candlelit room, just as Tina and Darren have been talking about in the chat. The name must be uttered 13 times or some other specified number of times. Whether it's 3 or 5 or 13, 33, whatever. Exactly. The Bloody Mary apparition allegedly appears as a corpse, a witch, or a ghost that can be friendly or evil, and is sometimes covered in blood, hence the name. So the lore surrounding the ritual states that participants may endure the apparition screaming at them, cursing at them, strangling them, stealing their souls,
scratching them,
scratching their eyes out, drinking their blood. Some variations of the ritual call Bloody Mary by different names. So there's Hell Mary, Mary Worth. There's the modern legend in Japan, Hanako-san.
Oh, Hanako of the toilet.
Yeah. Yep.
I love that story.
Yep. That parallels Bloody Mary mythology as well. But there's some debate actually going on now about the identification of who she is and if she's based on a real person. So,
this part.
Yep. A number of historical figures have been put forward as candidates, including Mary the First of England, who was the daughter of Henry VIII, and Catherine of Aragon, who had around 300 religious dissenters burned at the stake during her reign and earned the nickname Bloody Mary. Another one, Elizabeth Bathory, a 17th century Hungarian countess who allegedly tortured and killed around 650 girls and women bathed in their blood and was accused of being a vampire. She's cool. Hopefully she's
I scoff at that story because, okay, so I'm a historian. Mm-hmm. So I do, and that means some of the podcasts I do listen to are history based. So I'm pretty good with my Tudor history. So I actually do know a great deal about Mary the First, Queen of England, before her half-sister Elizabeth the First. Mm-hmm. Mary went through some really, really bad times.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, it was horrible for her. And she had spent so much of her life being beloved by the people that when it was time for her to take the throne, they were rooting for her. But then things just didn't work out so well. Things didn't work out with the man she married.
Well, no, he was cheating on everybody.
Huh?
He was cheating on everybody.
I think so. And also he didn't really like her to begin with.
No, he didn't. And he actually told her she was ugly very often, from what I read.
Yeah. But yeah, and also never mind the fact that her English subjects didn't want a Spanish husband. And she was a queen. She was the first queen of England in her own right. So she had a standard to hold on to. It was so hard for her. And she also wanted children, but then it just never happened. One aspect of the legend is that some people would say, Bloody Mary, I stole your baby, or something like that. And I will just say that if you do that incantation, you deserve everything that's about to happen to you. I'm just going to put it out there. Don't be dicks when you're doing this. The other thing too about Elizabeth Bathory, I think we should do an episode about her because that story about her is just unbelievable. There's so many dimensions on that. But if you want to hear a lot of people do it, there's a podcast called Noble Blood who does an amazing job. So check that out too. Anyway,
there you go.
Tina also brought up an interesting point. She said, I do believe in angel of death. When I worked at a hospital, I swear we saw one. She entered a patient room and we went in and checked on the patient and the patient had passed away. I've heard of that sort of thing happening too.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Yeah. Oh, Bloody Mary. I actually tried to do Bloody Mary when I was at a slumber party, and for years afterward, I had a terrifying phobia of mirrors. I would not look in a mirror.
Right. No. It took me forever to go into the bathroom when the lights were off. I never wanted to. I still get a little kind of like.
Well, mirrors are weird. Mirrors are creepy.
So I can go past a mirror in a haunted house or a place we're investigating in any room of the house and be totally fine. If it's in the bathroom, I shy away from that because I don't know if I'm just waiting for someone to be like through the mirror or what. But if it's in the bathroom, I don't mess with it.
Also, in the bathroom is where you're at some of your most vulnerable points.
True.
Yeah.
Because I told you about the bathroom issue I had at the place we investigated.
Yes.
And I should probably have to fully explain it now since I just was stupid.
You just said something. Yay!
So when we were doing
not an urban legend, guys.
Not an urban legend. This actually happened. We were doing an investigation at the Grand Opera House in Dubuque, Iowa. Mm-hmm. Very, 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 very great place to investigate. Always get good stuff. The men's bathroom on the kind of the main floor, you walk in by where the theater is onto the promenade, and you walk around and go down a short flight of stairs to the bathroom. That's where the main men's bathroom is. I was in there going to the bathroom, and they said or I went in there to go to the bathroom. And as I was going to the bathroom, because I'm usually one to not do that at a place I'm investigating, just personal preference. I usually go before I get there and hold it the rest of the night till I leave. Anyways, decided to go there. All the toilets in the bathroom started flushing all the way down the row, like whoosh, 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 whoosh. I've never like finished and got out of a bathroom so fast in my life. And I came walking up there, and I know I had to look like, oh my God, what the heck just happened? Why are they doing this to me? This is my pee time, right? And the guys are kind of have like smirks on their faces, and I'm like, you guys get reports of stuff in the bathroom all the time, don't you? And the guy started laughing. He goes, yeah. And I'm like, you didn't want to bother to tell me that before I went in to do my stuff? And he's like, nah, I figured you'd figure it out.
Sounds fair enough. Hey, Brandon, weren't you saying something about trying to get somebody from the chat to talk also? Because I think we got some live ones tonight.
Maybe. We still got quite a few to go through yet. Let's see how our time goes after we've done all our research on our stuff. Because I got a couple of good ones yet that I want to make.
Yes, you do. I've seen your list. Okay, I got a good one too. All right. So I'm actually going back to our first guest this season, back to Lopaka Kapanui from Hawaii. And Lopaka, I hope you're listening, and we hope to get you back on the show soon. So hang tight. I asked him do you remember when I asked him about the Night Marchers?
Yeah, those still blow my mind.
Okay, so for those of you that don't remember, I'm going to give you a very basic overview about the Night Marchers. I suppose it's kind of classed as an urban legend, but it's kind of not, because it is such a deep part of Native Hawaiian folklore and experiences and the environment. But maybe you'll find this interesting. So the Night Marchers are believed to be the ancient Hawaiian warriors that defended the islands thousands of years ago. And when they're marching, you don't want to get in their way. You want to get away from them. You don't want to be anywhere near them, because if they see you in their path, they will take you. They will take you, and you're lost forever. And apparently some of the houses in Hawaii, if I remember Lopaka correctly, he mentioned that some of the houses in Hawaii are built, some of the structures are built in Night Marcher paths. So in a way, it's like the urban environment growing up into this native environment, and the kind of clashes that you have to take in order to share your space with this force that you really can't do anything about, because when they're coming, they're coming.
And he literally said that they design the houses to have openings for when the Night Marchers come through. So you can literally open your doors through your house, and they can just go straight through it. And you got to hide in like a bedroom or a closet or something so you can't be seen.
Yeah, and there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason for when they come. I mean, there might be a special occasion for when they come. It's not like the Wild Hunt, for example, the Celtic Wild Hunt that would come at this time of year, actually. But I guess that I don't know if it's an anniversary or anything like that. The Night Marchers just seem to come, and they have every right to, because they're part of the land, which is incredible. But mortals being what we are, we definitely don't want to be taken by the Night Marchers. So one of the ways that you can avoid being taken by the Night Marchers is if for some reason, here's one, if for some reason your ancestor is in the Night March, if you are a descendant of one of those warriors, then your ancestor can basically communicate on your behalf, and they leave you alone. But then there's another way, and this was actually priceless. You strip naked and you lay down on the ground, face down, until it passes. And I believe you hear drums, and I think you might hear horns, which again sounds very familiar and similar to the Wild Hunt that you hear about in.
I still stand by the fact that, knowing my luck, if I went to Hawaii,
you're screwed.
I would, right? I would literally be in a house that's on the path the night they come through, and my stupid butt would be sitting there soaked into a movie or something, not realizing when it was, what was happening, because I would think it was something on TV, and I'd be sitting there chilling on the couch, and they come strolling up in the house, and you just kind of sit there and just go, shit.
Yeah, pretty much. But you know what? Lopaka has told us that when we come to Hawaii, because we will go to Hawaii at some point, he will help us out with stuff like that. And you know, I just find this is one of those legends where I'm not going to question or analyze, because I really do feel it's a matter of faith, and it's a matter of the land. And sometimes the land is just so deep and so fraught with history and energy that things happen. And it's as much a force of nature as anything else. So I got deep. So now you need to give me a good one, Brandon. Give me another good one. Come on.
All right. Well,
I need to talk about
this. Let's talk about Andre Rand. Familiar with him? Maybe.
No.
Maybe. Are you eating your chalupa again? I have my script up, so I can't see you. All right. Oh, we're so spooky with our chalupas. Andre
Drop
Rand.
the chalupa.
What is it?
Drop the chalupa.
What are you eating now?
Nothing now. I'm finishing. I just said drop the chalupa. Okay, Andre Rand.
Andre Rand was also referred to in the media as the Pied Piper of Staten Island.
Oh!
He's an American convicted kidnapper of 2 children and a suspected serial killer, currently serving 25 to life in prison.
Beautiful.
So he's eligible for parole in 2037. Which isn't that far away.
And how
especially
old
when
is
you
this
realize
guy?
Who he is.
Okay. How old is he?
Well, he was born in 1944.
Okay, so he's okay.
It'd be what? He'll be in his 90s.
He's in his yeah.
But still, that's too soon. Because he is the subject of the 2009 documentary Cropsey.
Cropsey! I love the stories. Okay.
So, the origins of his name, Andre Rand, are unknown because he was actually born Frank Russian. According to his younger sister in the 2009 documentary Cropsey, neither she nor Rand were sexually or physically abused as children. His father died March 27th of 58 when he was 14. And his mother was institutionalized at Pilgrim Psychiatric Center in Brentwood, New York, where Rand and his sister would visit as teenagers. So, I mean, outside of that...
fairly normal life.
Right? Sure. But in the mid-1960s, he got a job as a custodian, an orderly, and a physical therapist at Willowbrook State School, which is a key note to remember.
I've heard of Willowbrook. I've heard it was a horrible place.
Yep. So in 1983, Rand picked up a group of 11 children from the Y, located on Staten Island, in a school bus, purchased meals for them without the consent of any of their parents, and took them to the Newark Liberty International Airport in the state of New Jersey. None of the children were harmed when they caught him during this encounter, but he did serve 10 months in jail for unlawful imprisonment because the kids obviously weren't planning on going with him to the airport.
So he just took them?
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
1988,
Rand was charged with kidnapping and first-degree murder of Jennifer Schweiger. The Staten Island jury could not reach a verdict on the murder charge, but convicted Rand of the first-degree kidnapping charge again. He was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison, and he would have been eligible for parole in 2008. However, he got charged with another kidnapping charge, which pushed him out to where we're at now. Anyways, according to the documentary, some people, along with the detectives, speculated that Rand may have been involved with Satanism and providing children to be sacrificed. So there are people who also thought that Rand was not alone in the commission of his crimes. And many believe that he was passing these children around to his friends in the underground network of homeless and mentally disabled people that were living in the tunnel systems under the former Willowbrook State School.
Oh my God.
The story of Cropsey, where he comes out of the sewers and steals your children.
Oh, geez. That feels so like Pennywise.
Was based in fact.
Wow.
So they actually found that he was living in those tunnels underneath the old state school where he used to work.
Jesus.
And he would take the kids and take them down into the sewers. Crazy, right?
Awful. Yeah.
So officers and inmates at the prison where Rand was currently incarcerated testified regarding conversations they had with him where he bragged about being a pedophile.
Oh my God.
He reportedly confessed to this gal Holly, her murder, to an inmate and compared himself similar to Ted Bundy. Volunteers continue to search abandoned properties twice a year for evidence related to his other victims, but nothing's been discovered yet. It's crazy to think that this happened that long ago and they're still looking for evidence because of all of the stuff that he talks about. However, in 2004, Rand was again brought to trial, this time charged with the kidnapping, like I said, of Holly Ann Hughes. She was from 23 years earlier. Luckily, in New York, there's no statute of limitations for first-degree kidnapping, which made the charge possible. So the jury convicted him of kidnapping in October of 2004, and that's where he was sentenced to another consecutive 25 years to life, which Breen said he's eligible in the 2037, like we said, at the tender age of 93 years old. All of the victims were either vanished from or were murdered in the Staten Island area, with the exception of the young lady Nuremberg. Here's the trick with it. All of their cases remain unsolved. Crazy.
I hope he rots. Sorry.
Way to throw the hammer down on that one.
I have huge trigger warning on all that, guys. So, yes, I have huge issues with people like that. Yeah. Thank you.
I don't even know with you anymore.
I'm laughing so I don't scream. Oh
my God.
Okay, can we get somebody to? I need to hear something happy.
All right, I got a happier one for you.
Okay, yeah.
If nothing else, this is a good one to end on.
Okay.
Because we are getting close. So, California, right?
Yeah.
Let me find my spot here in my script.
California dreaming on such a winter's day.
Okay. So, a little after midnight, November 2007. Footage of this event went viral and became an internet sensation. It happened in a family's lawn in Fresno, California. Any clues yet? Is that enough? How about we talk about a mysterious cryptid that looked like and were called the cute and cuddly face of cryptozoology, also known as the walking pants of Fresno nightcrawlers.
This is amazing. Keep going.
Basically what happened here is there's this family, these two guys that are living in this house.
Okay.
We can go into the dirty details of it here in a sec. But they knew that there was bike thieves in the area, so they decided to set up cameras on their house to watch out so no one stole their bikes.
Okay.
And they get footage of these things that look like pants with a little head on top walking across their yard. And they kind of have that weird kind of walk type thing, going on.
Are you telling me that they had swagger?
They had swagger.
Oh my God.
They
swagger like Mick Jagger.
In their apple bottom jeans or whatever they call them nowadays.
They weren't wearing boots with the fur, were they?
Some people say that they did look furry. So.
Oh, okay.
So basically, people have pretty much agreed that they're adorable, but since the guy that filmed it disappeared, they figured the case was closed, right?
Right.
There is way more to the story. So Paranormality Magazine is actually where I pulled this main magazine out, because this is the first time I've actually heard of somebody finding the people that filmed the video.
Okay.
So, this is basically what I'm going to be reading through here is what they call the untold story of the Fresno Nightcrawlers.
Oh,
so
God.
Basically, Jose was the gentleman who originally filmed the Nightcrawler footage in this California neighborhood in Fresno. The brothers Jose and Rogelio, I believe is pronounced it, or Rogelio. Jose was actually the one that did the footage. He passed away in 2014. However, his brother was there for every part of it, and they experienced it together, and it actually formed a pretty strong bond between the two of them. I mean, anytime you see a cryptid with somebody, you're kind of connected after that.
Okay, yeah, I
right?
could go with that. Yeah.
So.
Hi, Gail.
Basically, they lived there in the heart of Fresno. Their neighborhood resident had a bike thief in their midst, so Jose decided to install a surveillance system. One camera was set up to directly overlook the front yard of their house. One night, the family dog began barking to an extreme degree. Okay, so dog was going nuts. Jose turned on the monitor linked to their surveillance system. Jose grabbed his camcorder to record the monitor in hopes of catching whatever caused the dogs to go crazy, right?
Right.
What he witnessed were these two beings walking across the yard. These entities are now very infamous in their description, almost all legs with a small little stumpy head, and they walk they called it Uncanny Valley.
Oh my God. That's creepy.
So it kind of comes off kind of clumsy and awkward, kind of, type thing. Right.
Yeah.
So the part that makes it so crazy is the beings pass by a tree in the yard as they make their way across the lawn. In comparison to the tree, it showed the height wise for these would be roughly about 2 feet tall.
Oh, they're
little guys.
They're so cute.
So in shock, Jose called out to his brother and showed him the footage. Both were just like gobsmacked, right? The first being walks by and then appears to look up at the camera, and they state in the original footage from his brother's camera, you could tell that the being had large, solid black eyes.
Ugh.
So this comes back later into play, okay?
Okay.
Both beings seem to be wearing little capes or have very loose skin around the bottom of their legs. So like bell bottoms. The two brothers stepped outside onto their lawn and looked around for any sign of the creatures. And obviously they're only met with the cold air. The creatures were gone, right?
Right.
However, both brothers felt complete fear outside as soon as they walked out there right after these things vanished. So creature, solid black eyes.
Sounds like a black-eyed kid.
Right?
Yeah.
Is this the black-eyed kids in natural form?
Ew. Oh. Whoa. Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a nice
that's a nice little thing to think about. Oh, that's creepy. Right. I'll agree with that.
So they discussed it together the next morning after what it was, and they both agreed that this was definitely not a prank. So they were asked, what if it was the neighbors playing pranks on them? And
Valid.
Rogelio literally replied that The only family in the neighborhood they did not get along with extremely well was just the one family. And they said, well, what if they were the ones tricking you? And his response was, they wouldn't have played a prank. They would have mostly did a drive-by.
Oh, that got dark very quickly.
Right.
Okay.
So that's very definitely not the neighbors. So Rogelio felt that they should just let it be and see what happens. Jose, on the other hand, wanted everyone to see the footage. So he started sharing it with as many people as he could. So they contacted Univision, the news station there in the area.
Mm-hmm.
They had Jose come down to the TV station. He brought the footage with, and they took the footage and videotape. She literally had her cameraman videotape the screen so he could get footage as quickly as possible to have it to air that day.
Wow.
So, but from there, the footage has been disseminated out. It's been spread out, footage of footage of footage. So it's gotten very hard to see.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go out on YouTube, you can actually find what is believed to be the closest footage of these guys
to the original. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then luckily enough for us, this happened in 2007.
Yep.
So it wasn't that long ago.
That's it. That's a very interesting story. Yeah.
But the black-eyed kid part is the part that got me, because the black eyes, the feeling of dread, you know what I mean?
I do. Yes.
I mean, the only thing missing was them coming up and knocking on the door. It really makes me wonder, because, we've done the black-eyed kid episode.
You have, yes.
And we've really, on that episode, really deep dived into it and discussed, what these are, whether they're aliens or malevolent spirits or whatever they are. They take control of these people, and they're human, but not
human. Yeah.
Well, what if these little cryptids are aliens, and that's what they look like in their true form, and they're trying to move on to their next host?
Ooh. I like this story. I like this one. That's creepy. And kind of interesting. I'm actually wondering if I saw this on, I think maybe Paranormal Caught on Camera did something with this.
Yeah, it's been on a lot of different TV shows. Like it said in the article, it gets picked up certain times a year, gets played out. They kind of run with it a little bit, and then it dies out again. So it kind of comes and goes. If you've ever if you've ever watched the video, it's creepy. They're cute, but they're creepy. Like the little pants walking across the yard.
There's a part of me, I know there's this feeling of dread, but...
Right, you giggle at it, but at the same time, you're like, okay, that's kind of messed up.
It is slightly messed up because, I'm also thinking anatomy here, and this little rising out of...
About this tall.
I don't know what to think about that. I really don't.
But when you put the BEKs into that changes the entire story.
I was feeling the same way. I'm like, wow. Maybe. There's stranger things out there. One thing for sure about urban legends and about the paranormal in general is you never lose your sense of wonder. Or I think it's a lesson to us to not lose our sense of wonder and magic, that it is something, the world is more than what we think. So, wow, that was a heartwarming little thing there. Halloween with heart.
Halloween with heart. And great way to end the episode.
Yeah, and also mentions of Pukwudgies and punting the black-eyed kids and doppelgangers. And also I want to thank Darren for putting out all these really cool legends from Wisconsin. Have we had Darren on the show?
I was just gonna say we should probably get Darren on this show.
Darren, this is your invitation.
Not tonight. Let's do an episode about Darren.
I think you need an episode. You need an episode, Darren. And again, I want to thank the whole chat, Tina, Gail, Gina, Betsy, Darren, Nicole, all of you wonderful folks for joining us tonight.
Yes, and thanks to everybody who's tuning in as we go into the audio version of this here next week. Yes, I hope that everyone enjoys their Halloween.
Absolutely. And be safe out there. Enjoy yourselves. And also remember, if you are listening to us, you can hop online and give us a rating of 5 stars or leave us a review, because these reviews and these stars, they actually do help us. They help us get the word out about the show. And we also welcome your feedback to make the show better.
That's right. And if you listen to us on Android, you can follow us on Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or anywhere else that you get your podcasts. Remember, you can always just simply say, Alexa, play the Para Unity podcast. And Alexa will go, hell yeah. No, I don't know what she says. I don't have one.
She says,
anyways,
play
Paranormal. Turn it on for you.
Yes, she will. She will. It works.
Remember, if you like the show, tell a friend. If you want to be on the show, get a hold of us, Facebook, Instagram. If you want to help support the show, buy us a coffee on the website. But as always, my name is Brandon.
And I'm Whitney. And you've been in the best place to bring our paranormal groups and our paranormal family a little closer together, the Para Unity Podcast. Happy Halloween, Samhain. Have a great night, everyone.
Good night.